Okay. Alright, finally we are going to get to this particular stream. And I'm sorry that this is very long. I'm very sorry about that. So please forgive me if I've if I've taken very long on this. Let me check if the audio is okay. Because I think I might have screwed up the audio a little bit. If anybody can hear me, I hope you guys can. I really hope you do. Because this is not sorry. A, this is just a reoccurring issue that happens to me once in every one again. So let's just hope that. Okay. So audio is okay from my end of the talking, which is the microphone, because I had the microphone set on two things here, because I don't know how to work this thing. So because I went to the advanced audio properties on the OBS that I've done here, and it's quite a hassle to work with. So I hope everything's okay, and I hope that the videos that we viewed today aren't really that bad in terms of audio, because after I watched the streams from the last two, I think the last two. From the last two, because I seen that the audio is really weird, that it echoes quite a lot. So I hope that doesn't happen today. I really hope it doesn't, and I really want to get that fixed. Cause if you see, cause I'm gonna show you my audio properties to hear. Since I don't understand why is it with not audio here, so I don't understand, because I have audio, but it just echoes for some reason when I play a video. So I have all these disabled. I have desktop audio 2 disabled, the mic 2 disabled, 3 and 4 disabled, and just the main mic and the desktop main is displayed here as speakers, and the microphone, which is my Yeti Nano. But I don't understand why it's got such an echo when I play back, when when I view videos. So anyway, enough about that out of the way. We're gonna get started here. Alright, so these are videos that I just found interesting, and I thought, you know what, go ahead and view them, because why not, and I decided to, so here we go. Alright, first video here. Let's hope that the audio isn't too bad here. Okay.
Smash Ultimate was a love letter to the Smash community. A return of every single character along with exactly what the community wanted, a announced developer focus on character balance and gameplay speed. So with all that in mind, it begs the question, why is Smash Ultimate so despised now? The thing is that this isn't exactly something that is new. Smash has been notorious for its hype cycles on each game release, where fans are fanatic before the game comes out with all the trailers and all that. Then they love the games for a few years, and eventually they fall out of love, and cracks appear at the seams. And in Ultimate's case, well, there are a lot of cracks to talk about. The years have changed, and with that, the meta has changed, to say the least. With all these games that go through the cycle of aggression initially being really broken on release. I mean, you remember MKLeo going out there, mashing there with Ike, and yeah, that was good. It was so fun to watch, and also really fun to play. As time goes on, though, with all these games, and as people get used to the mechanics of them, platform fighters usually turn a bit slower, a bit more campy, and a bit more methodical. There's a lot of space to be used in these games with all the platforms, and people start using it. And as a viewer, well, I think in a lot of cases that gets kind of boring. I mean, you've seen Sonic time people out, you've seen Samus charging charge shot in the corner under a platform. You know there's just a large variety of slow, safe, almost risk-free strategies that are growing in popularity over time. And to be honest, why wouldn't you use one of these strategies if you were a competitive player or even a casual player that just wants to win? Because people like winning, and reactive play is a really great way to get consistent wins. But as we all know, winning isn't the only thing that matters in a game. What also matters is how fun people are to play against. And yeah, as time went on, this game went from a wild ball-to-the-walls brawl to a very slow-paced fencing match. And I think a lot of people have felt that the magic is kind of lost in that. The more methodical style of gameplay the Smash games usually evolve towards is so rough because it just doesn't really mimic the fantasy of the game. Smash in concept is about getting in there, taking stocks, and standing at the top of the hill after a nice, fair battle. And you can see this by basically watching any casual people or any young people ever playing the game for fun. When you're doing that, you run in, you try to do cool combos, you try to kill as many people as possible, and usually you don't see that many people sitting back doing nothing for minutes and minutes on end, avoiding the enemy as much as they can, unless they're specifically trying to either troll their friends, in which case they're going to get socially bullied to stop, or they just want to win so bad, but again, they're only going to do that for one game or two, and then go back to playing the game normally. And while yes, you can just deal with it, and you can just deal with watching the slow, methodical gameplay, and while that is something that you should do to win, most players play Smash mainly just for fun, not to improve or to get better or anything like that, but you can see how that could be kind of frustrating to a lot of people, a lot of fans, and even just a lot of players. If you want an obvious example of how Smash Ultimate has changed, I think the most easy way to see that is just the changing of the guard of the top tiers in this game. From early on, we had such an amazing meta of mainly semi-aggressive, pretty interesting characters that definitely ruled it. We had characters like Pichu, Joker, Pokemon Trainer, Wolf, Lucina, Wario, Mario, and Peach, just to name a few, and while they didn't necessarily always go in, they also definitely didn't camp, and for the most part, they scrapped it out whenever they possibly could. And as well, we had characters like Roy, which were just, running down people at all times, just trying to kill whoever they could. And, while these characters are still definitely playable today and still pretty darn good today, you definitely know the characters that are popular right now. And yeah, they aren't nearly as fun to watch or as fun to play versus as the old guard. And I think it's kind of unfortunate because, yeah, if we would have just continued with the old meta of Smash Ultimate, I think the game might have ended up in a slightly better place. But it is just kind of what it is, unfortunately. I'll give Sakurai's team their props. Smash Ultimate is a much more balanced game compared to all the previous entries. You can pick up most characters and do well enough, which, honestly, is a feat on its own with so many characters in the game. So that's all well and good, but we can't ignore the Steve in the room, or like half the fighters in Fighter Pass 2. And what happened over COVID? Like, why did the balancing for this game just give up? Why didn't they meaningfully nerf anyone past Min or do anything after Sora was added? Like, bye-bye, I guess. This is such a weird choice by Nintendo. Drop a ton of characters and then just leave them alone in their, in my opinion, pretty obviously rushed/unbalanced COVID state. Like, I definitely understand. It was COVID. It makes sense. You couldn't get everyone out perfectly. But they could have released a patch at literally any point, even to this day. But they haven't. And I really have no idea why. Other than the fact that the higher-ups are like, yeah, there's no more content for this game, so there's no changes for the game. See ya. And for a game in 2024, that is just kind of jarring. Moving on, I think in a lot of cases, Smash Ultimate can be fun. But a key hidden source of burning hatred that I've seen seeping into the culture of Smash Ultimate for basically everyone is the fact that Smash Ultimate Online is horrible. And having to deal with it for years and years and years is so draining and has made so many players go crazy. Multiply that by the fact that, of course, these defensive, projectile, or hitbox bashy characters get far stronger online, so you're probably going to play against them a lot more often. Yeah, that is just kind of rough. For a lot of people, they want to play the character they want to play, and online doesn't really let them do that. If they want a fast, aggressive, precise character, well, good luck. That's really all I can say. And I think this added together creates a horrible experience for most players who log on today, unless you're playing one of those more forgiving online characters. Now, luckily for us, Smash Ultimate Online is only the main way that 99% of players play this game. So that's kind of rough. And I think the hardest part about it is that if you do want to win, even if you want to win just mainly in person, you probably still do need to practice online, since you really can't grind as much just in person compared to people that are grinding online all the time. So this leads to a lot of people putting themselves through the suffering of Smash Ultimate Online, and I think over the years and years, the hatred definitely does boil hot from this. When I personally play online, a lot of the times I do kind of want to have some fun, and to be honest, a weird kind of Smash Ultimate specific problem for online, but also in person, I guess, is the fact that there are quite a few characters that, while they may not necessarily be camping all the time, they're also kind of forcing you to camp, which feels very weird, because if you interact with these characters, you just die. I mean, we got Luigi, we got Kazuya, we even kind of, in a weird case, have Bayonetta or Game & Watch. There's these characters where if you press a button and if you try to go in, you could take 100% or even your entire stock. And, like, what's the solution for that? Well, it's to wait there. It's to do nothing. You have to let them move first and then punish them. Because, again, if you do go in and you do get hit, you die. And really, no one wants to play like that. No one really wants to watch that. These issues could be kind of fixed by reworking the characters, by maybe taking some strengths from them from one aspect and then moving it to somewhere else instead. But it seems like that isn't really what Nintendo wants to do anymore, and it leaves just quite a few characters that feels like you can't really interact with them, and just very frustrating to play against. Connected to the idea I just talked about, you've probably heard a lot of people complaining about characters like Luigi, like Kazuya. And I think as time goes on, a lot of just expressions or ideas become a lot more socially acceptable for each Smash game. And oftentimes it's for good reasons, such as like, crowd canceling in Melee, which is quite annoying, rage kills in Smash 4, or just tripping in Brawl. But the main thing is that these players don't necessarily hate their entire game. I think they're just trying to put the frustration that they've had over the years of playing the game into something that they can, attack as a punching bag vocally. And while they might not hate every single thing about the game, there are certain things that they can complain about to get that frustration out, while not necessarily hurting anyone's feelings in particular. Some people get pent-up emotions over games, especially over years where it feels like they should be finally beating their friends or finally winning tournaments now, but they're just not. So, gut-punching Sonic Spin Dash, or complaining about Game & Watch having a fast, invincible frame-through out of shield option that also combos, while no one else does, or, complaining about two-framing or spot-dodge canceling or anything like that can definitely help you blow off some steam without being rude or offending most players. In fact, in most situations, I think it actually kind of builds camaraderie with other players, as most players also dislike the same things or relate to using the same excuses. This is a thing that happens with most older games as the meta solidifies, and yeah, this game is older. And next year, it'll actually be the oldest any Smash game has ever been since the last one. And with a new console coming out, maybe kind of soonish, I think what that's led to is a lot of us kind of giving up on this game a little bit, and just mainly thinking, eventually a deluxe version is going to come out, or a new game's going to come out, and that'll fix all the issues. They're expecting a new one, they're waiting for a new one, so why bother trying to ground out a game that's going to die anyways, that has so many problems anyways? May as well just hate on it and have the hopium that the next game is going to be perfect perfect, even though it definitely won't be. I've seen this with Brawl, with Smash 4, and now with Ultimate, and let's be real, in a few years, I think most of us probably will miss Smash Ultimate, like I personally do with Smash 4 now, because it will probably be replaced. I don't think Smash Ultimate is really a good enough of a masterpiece like Melee to outlast a sequel. As long as Smash 6 comes out and is pretty good, it's probably going to replace what we have for Ultimate's player base now. And people will just move on to the new game, and the cycle will repeat. That game instead will eventually become hated, and Ultimate, well, I think a lot of us will start to love it again. I think the fact that we won't necessarily have to play against a lot of these broken characters or these strategies, because we're just playing the game a lot more casually, that's going to bring us back to it. I think we're going to love a lot of the memories it gave and the fun time at friends' houses that we had, the hard-won tournament victories we pulled out, and the crushing money matches that we lost. Smash Ultimate will be hated for now, and probably even for a few years, and with a lot of pretty good reasons. But I am excited for the time where nostalgia takes over once again, and Ultimate becomes the GOAT that many of us once thought it was. Speaking of becoming the GOAT, I honestly think a lot of Smash players have practiced a ton, tried to improve, and gotten really freaking good at Smash Ultimate, which, in all honesty, can cause some problems on its own. And here I have a video talking about just that, if we simply gotten too good at gaming, and what we can do about it. So I hope you can enjoy that video if it sounds interesting to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Okay. Oh boy. So I've been kind of listening to this video, hearing through while I've been making my own comments here on the chat. So I'm just gonna make a few comments because I'm just interested in this particular topic, and the way that I view things here when it comes to this video may not be the same for everyone, and that's okay. So I'm gonna just give my opinion here because I really wanna bring this point home, and I know everybody's not gonna agree with me on this, but I hope everybody can just respect my opinion, and we can just have a really civil discussion. So it comes to a thought that yes, the opinions do change of the Smash community in general, and I believe that goes for every single community in general, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Overwatch, any game, honestly. You know, the new Super Mario Bros. Series. I've done my opinion on that particular game so many times, and of course, you know, on the Smash series, and you know, just my take on, you know, certain other games that I may have that, you know, that people may not agree with a lot of the time, which I'll be honest, it's been sort of this. So but when it comes to Smash Ultimate, I think it has the biggest opinion change when it comes to any particular game franchise. And I'm going to point that out because, to be honest with you, if I want to go back and... Hello. So I want to, you know, if I wanted to go back and play, let's say, Brawl, it may not be the best game out there. It may not be it may not be the best game out there, or a game that is particularly perfect in many aspects like the community wants to make it seem like it does. But it's a good enough game to where, you know, it's got a fleshed out story, which, by the way, you know, the Subspace Emissary was amazing, by the way. The Smash system, the battle system, which is like the typical system that we get in almost every other game, is good, and the character roster as well. Even the amount of options that you get to customize the battles, it's amazing. And that's what people wanted for Smash 4. And then as like Ultimate came around, people wanted to see every character. But like I'm gonna say here again, and it's gonna be something that I might as well point out that things can't be perfect. Things just aren't perfect at all. And with every character, I mean, you get it, like with Zelda and all the other IPs, they could only add so much. And if every character were on the surface, we would have like Ultimate Deluxe or something like that, which I don't think would be something that people wouldn't necessarily want, because they would be overwhelmed with every character under the sun. Which I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I can't really pick my character when it's like when it comes to Ultimate, because I play Ultimate like maybe sometimes here and there, because like I just want to have a fun experience. But sometimes it does get overwhelming. And of course, with the stages and stuff, that goes the same for stages. And even and even certain mechanics as well, even though the mechanics, which are the items and stuff like that, and stuff that you can pretty much customize, is relatively kind of like just here and there. But you know the community is kind of part of it. But you know I just think people expect way too much of these particular games, which, yes, I'm guilty of this too. That the next game, I want every single character on there, and every character from every franchise to come over to Smash Ultimate, or to the next Smash that's gonna come out. Um, or brand new unique stages. You know, I've been guilty of that as well. But looking at this video, when observing what I've been kind of watching here, I just feel as though we kind of really need to kind of evaluate what we're wanting here. And if it means that they're not gonna put any more characters, which I'll be honest, I probably would like that. I mean, there's some characters that really could make it into Smash, that really could. But at the moment, I don't think it could be possible, and people need to realize that. And of course, when it comes to stages, not every stage is gonna make it. It, that's what it come. That's what it comes down to when it goes into development, and how much time is put into each game. And they're not given as much time as they're needed, which I'll be honest, takes maybe about a year, 2 years, maybe even three, if we're counting it. And I'm not counting Duke Nukem Forever, because that game took maybe like almost like over 10 years, and that game flopped so poorly. But games like Smash Ultimate, or Wonder, or Thousand Year Door. Think about those games. Those games took maybe 2-3 years to make, maybe even four, if we're counting it. And they made a groundbreaking game because of it, because they took time, they took effort. And you know people want to see a good experience. People want to get those experiences that that in some cases might delve into the next into the next sequel, into the next groundbreaking sequel that we get, you know. But with Ultimate, it's kind of different. With Ultimate, you know, the Smash series, it's kind of different, you know. They want the same experience, but with more characters, more mechanics, more items, more customization options, and it's never gonna end with this particular community. If I'm not saying the community's all bad, but I'm just saying like this this particular like I'm not saying that it's bad to get more things, but there is a point where, you know, that it stops because there's limited resources, or if there's so much time constraints, uh all those things aside, I think that's pretty much what I've kind of like given in when it comes to this video. So that's kind of my 2 cents here. Anybody wanna stretch out that opinion? Anybody wanna give their 2 cents on this? You know, it's pretty much appreciated. I hope everybody can find this quite a bit can pretty much say their own opinion on this if anybody hasn't already. So moving on to the next video. Alright, ranking every world in the new Super Mario series. So we're gonna just copy this link here.
Taxes.
Hi, just a quick preamble before the video begins. I'm Amber, by the way. Hi. So I originally started making this video back in late September, early October, and was hoping to get the video out in early November at the latest, realistically. Unfortunately, real life got in the way of that quite a bit. So as a result of that, the few times that I do mention Super Mario Bros. Wonder in this video, it's in the future tense because it hadn't come out yet. Also as a result of that, it meant that I didn't really set myself up to go into specifics about that game, because it would have been way too early for that anyway. With that being said, I think the video is about to start, so I'll shut up. Hi, welcome to the video. My name is Amber, and welcome to the mysterious room at the back of the Costco labeled Employees Only. There's a new phenomenon sweeping the nation, one that can't be avoided, and its name is Mario. I've been a big fan of the Mario franchise for as long as I can remember. In fact, the first video game I ever played was Super Mario World on my family's SNES console, along with Super Mario All-Stars. I would play these games for ages with my sisters, trying to beat all the levels and find all the cool secrets hidden inside. It was a great time. Now, at the time, which was the early 2000s, although I didn't actually know about it, it had been over a decade since the world had seen a new 2D Mario title. You know, Super Mario 64 had released, and there was a lot of buzz about 3D games that me, as a 4-year-old, was not really privy to. But since then, a new 2D Mario franchise has come and gone, one with 4 main games in its library, and 1 game labelled as DLC, which I won't actually really talk about in this video. I am of course referring to the new Super Mario Bros. Series, which began in 2006. These 4 games are all ones that I enjoyed quite a lot. I was always excited when I heard that there was a new one coming out. And when I look back on these games, I think, yeah, that was a fun time. Although in the years since we've seen a new Super Mario Bros. Game, I have seen that the online conversations around these titles has kind of focused on one main thing, and that's that they're all quite similar to one another. They all have a lot of things in common, of course. but while each one does introduce all these new ideas, people felt like the new title at the start of each game was getting a bit tired. But now in 2023, and Nintendo has announced Super Mario Bros. Wonder, a game with a new and vibrant art style, one that seems like it's really going to revitalize the 2D Mario space once again. By the time this video comes out, the game will have surely been released, and I'm probably actually playing it while I'm editing this video as well. So now, with this new spin on Mario in our lives, a question has come to my mind, and surely has come to the minds of many others as well. How good was the new Super Mario Bros. Series? It's been about a decade since the last game released, not including the Switch remaster, which added one thing. And I really want to dive in once more before this new title comes out to really see how I feel about the new series. I'm going to go through every single level that these games have to offer, and I'm going to be ranking each world on a tier list as I see fit. I'm going to be critical to the extent I feel is right about these games. They did have an impact on me back when they came out, like those early Mario games did, but I haven't really looked back on them since then. So I want to see if looking back at them, my viewpoint actually changes. So let's start by talking about the first game in the series, New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS. It released in 2006 and was a big deal. The game was here to revitalize the 2D Mario space, including a bunch of features that we saw in previous titles, including world maps, some iconic enemies, and of course, a very basic story about Peach getting kidnapped. The Mario series is not known for having a great story, obviously. This game, being brand new, also set out to introduce some brand new things, such as the Mega Mushroom, which you can see referenced on the box art for this game. The game also featured mini-games borrowed from Super Mario 64 DS, and a head-to-head co-op. Both cool features that I won't really be discussing, because they are very much side things. They aren't the meat of the game. But without further ado, let's get into discussing the meat of the game. So of course, we've got to start with World 1, a world that looks incredibly default. Grassy plains, hills in the background, nothing that really stands out on the world map. And this makes sense. You want the player to see something relatively simple at the start of the game, and not get overwhelmed by crazy ideas right off the bat. Especially with how long it had been since the last 2D Mario game, it's a fair decision. Going into the first level of the game, the layout is, once again, fairly basic. Everything is pretty open, plenty of space for players to get a handle on the controls and physics of the game, and a ledge to make sure they aren't at risk of losing the first mushroom they're given. It continues on like this until you get to this block, which gives you a Mega Mushroom. It's not a surprise to see this in the first level. I mean, it was on the box art after all. You want people to very quickly experience the cool new thing you've introduced. After collecting the mushroom, you get to have the thrill of trampling stuff as Big Mario for a while, and you're given 1-ups based on how much you trample. This game also introduces star coins, a collectible that you have 3 of in every single level. And what I love about this first level is that the second star coin is in a separate area, one that you'll probably lose access to if you're running around like Godzilla. It's a simple way of letting the player know that all the star coins won't be easy to find, and it gives them reason to go back and try again, figuring out where it could be. It's a good tutorial level because of those things. Now the second level takes us underground, like in the original Super Mario Bros. This level isn't too special, admittedly, though it does give us opportunities to go above the level itself. This is once again reminiscent of the original SMB as well, where if you did that at the end of the stage, you get to go to the warp zone and go to one of the future worlds. What the fuck? Well, in this game, if we follow that example, we are not met with the warp zone, we get a star coin and are led to a secret exit. Secret exits in this game are marked by red flags, which, instead of being a warning sign about someone, are a great way to signal to players that they've done something different than expected. However, getting the secret exit only lets you skip a single level instead of entire worlds. This kind of tells the player that, no, if you want to skip worlds in this game, you're gonna have to do more than that. This is the new Mario Bros. Super. Yep, those are all the words. World 1-3 takes us to the sky-high, fungi-filled level. It's very jumpy and active, giving off this fun atmosphere, one that you may end up getting tired of as levels like this persist, like I did. But for a first level of this kind, it's fine enough. Now, I mentioned that 1-2 being an underground level was reminiscent of the original SMB, but this level up high like this also gives off the vibes of that game. The original 1-3 had trees or bushes or whatever this shit is meant to be, but the concept is still there. And this still sticks when we enter not 1-4, but 1-Tower. Each world has at least one tower level around the halfway mark, like how Super Mario Bros. 3 had fortresses. They're all pretty similar. They all have basically the same aesthetic with the purple and blue bricks, and they all have you ascending to the top floor for a boss battle. Our first tower has these moving stone slabs which move on a cycle, giving the player some mild difficulties traversing, having to avoid being crushed and all. Up at the top, you battle against Bowser Jr. by jumping on him 3 times. It's a pretty simple and boring fight. Let's hope we never have to do it again. But now the real draw of this tower is the secret exit. I mentioned back in 1-2 that skipping worlds wouldn't be easy, and boy howdy does this tower make it difficult. There's this side room in the tower, and if you look closely, you'll see that there's one part of the border without a block covering it. If you investigate it, you'll go through a pipe to this other room, with a way out blocked by brick blocks. How do you break them? Well, this game has a power-up called the blue shell, one that can't be obtained easily, but it allows you to basically become a shell, which lets you break these blocks. Now, not only do you have to notice this discrepancy in a small and optional room, you have to get this power-up that's hard to get. That's 2 very non-obvious things, but as a result of that, you get the secret exit and unlock a cannon that will take you all the way to World 5. That's a pretty decent reward for managing to do all of that. Now, I've gone into quite a bit of detail about the first half of this world, and that's mostly because there are some things that kind of had to be explained in detail. Luckily, there's less to say about the second half of the world. 1-4 focuses a fair bit on Koopa shells, and introduces another new power-up, the Mini Mushroom, the younger brother of the Mega Mushroom. It, as name implies, makes you mini. You jump higher and floatier than before, but you die in 1 hit, and bounce off of enemies without damaging them unless you ground pound. It's a pretty fun power-up, and this level does a good job at being a playground for it. After this, there's an intersection. You can go up to another mushroom sky level, one with bouncing mushrooms and another fun vibe. Or for the price of 5 star coins, you can go down to an underwater level. Now, this water level is pretty lame. It's an auto-scrolling level. You're just slowly forced to go to the right the whole time. The main enemy to be found here are these sharks, which just swim in a straight line. It's really not a good way to introduce water levels into the game because it's not really fun or engaging. That's not a surprise for water levels though, we've seen this in other games before. They don't have great reputations. But trust me, there will be more interesting ones eventually. Now, every world ends on a castle level, and these levels, like the towers, are fairly similar to one another. Bricky layouts, sometimes with lava. This one also has the shifting stone slab mechanic as a focus, but it switches it up halfway through with these tight ropes. And I gotta be honest, the tight ropes are pretty fun to mess around with, so good job. At the end, we have the boss, and it's Bowser. Another throwback to the original game here, with Bowser standing on a path, and the only thing we can do is hit the kill switch on the other side of it, and dunk him into the lava. It's pretty easy, Bowser doesn't do a lot, and we're given a platform to jump over him if we need help. Oh, he's fucking dead, okay. Anyway, we did it, that's World 1 done, and I've gotta say, in total, it's not a bad world. It works well as an introduction to all the new things the title has to offer when compared to the older games, though none of the levels feel like they stand out too much. All in all, if I have to give it a rating, which I do, I gotta give it C tier. You know, average in total, nothing too special, but still done pretty well. Now let's move on to World 2, which has a pretty strong desert theme. Now, this is reminiscent of Super Mario Bros. 3, the first game in the series to have world maps, which also had a desert theme for its second world. Now, one thing about world theming that I really like is the fact that it helps give every world its own identity. You know, certain mechanics or enemies may be exclusive or just most commonly found in certain world themes. And we can see that pretty quickly when we enter 2-1, a level featuring a lot of pokies and quicksand. Pokies, enemies that look like living cacti, fit perfectly in a desert world. In fact, it's pretty rare for them to ever appear outside of a desert area throughout the entire Mario series. And quicksand, well, that's sand, I mean, come on. Going into 2-2, it looks a lot greener, but realistically this can be considered sort of an oasis area. The Key-2s appear here, frequently dropping spinies all around the stage. There are also these Mario Bros. Style platforms that allow you to hit enemies from underneath. Basically, just not a level I feel has a lot going on. But then there's 2-3, a level that's pretty unique because of its sewer aesthetic. Yeah, we've gone into the sewer system of the desert, I guess? Do they have those? Either way, this is a level that feels pretty constricted, traveling through all these tight areas, dealing with one-way doors and piranha plants, but then at the end of the level, we get these small puzzlish sections, where you have to increase the water level to escape. However, at this point, if you're able to raise it again, secret exit just for you. I like this a lot because it rewards you for exploring the area instead of just going on ahead. This secret exit leads to a nice beach-themed level, which introduces the spiked bass, another throwback to Super Mario Bros. 3. That being said, you really don't need to worry about it in this level, because a big mechanic here are these springs that shoot you far into the air. The normal exit here actually leads straight to the world's castle, but if you manage to pull off getting to the secret exit, you can head straight to World 5 with the cannon. That's pretty cool, getting a secret exit in a secret level to skip worlds. You actually have to put in a fair bit of effort for that. 2-4 is kinda cool as well. It has these sand mounds that you activate with these switches, for some reason, and a short section where you descend towards a watery area down below. There are a few things going on here, for example this mini pipe that Mini Mario can go through, but this level doesn't have a mini mushroom, so get one from home I guess. Or you can sneak around down here and reach a star coin that teaches you a very important lesson. Don't fuck up, or else. Now we move on to a tower level that I like quite a bit. The main thing we'll see here are spinning platforms. We start off with these windmill-like ones, nothing to stand out right now. There's a hidden star coin where you have to sound this moving block thing, which is pretty difficult to do. And we end with these wacky red things. I don't know what they're meant to be, but they're neat. Then we have the boss, Bowser Jr. again. And the fight, the same, but with quicksand. Just sort of there. These fights don't get more interesting for a while. The rest of the world is pretty short. 2-5 introduces these enemies that disguise themselves as blocks, and will leap up into the air at you if you threaten them. Newsflash, you always threaten them. You also get these blocks that are similar to the ones you'd see in Mario 3, and the fire snakes from Mario 3. And actually those brick enemies also appeared in Mario 3 as well, kinda. Now don't get me wrong, I have no real issue with things being borrowed from past games, it's kind of a given. I just find it fun, actually, that this level reintroduces 3 different things from that game at once. Wait, no, 4. Boomerang Bros are back, baby! This is a neat level, but then we get to 2-6, which really breaks the mold from what we've seen before. It's a bit gimmicky, because the bulk of this stage takes place on this wooden platform, which is plagued by piranha plants all around. Nothing in the level is majorly difficult as long as you watch your step, but it ends up being pretty memorable, to me at least, for being different to what we've seen before. It's an auto-scroller that feels more engaging than most other auto-scrollers. The castle of the world starts out in the usual way. It becomes clear that the gimmick for this one are these spike balls. Do not touch, lest you die. But then around halfway into the level, things switch up. We go outside. It's World 2 and already everything is being flipped on its head. Now we have to deal with bullet bills, and those Sandman switches from a few levels earlier, and still the spike balls. We're also given a mini mushroom for a reason that will be apparent soon. The boss of this world is not Bowser, because he died. We have to fight the Mummy Pokey, which will dig underground repeatedly to evade our attacks. How do we beat it? You jump on his head. 3 times. We are not at the peak of originality here. I don't think the boss is too difficult, as long as you can manage the chaos. Once you're out, there's a tiny path underneath us. Anyway, you get to go to World 3, but let's investigate that path. We can't get down there as normal Mario, but Mini Mario would fit. If you take that mini mushroom and beat the boss while tiny, well, for one, good job, that shit is tough. But for 2, you run forward and go down, towards World 4. Yep, not every world is required for this game, and this is the first of 2 intersections we'll see between different worlds. In fact, if you had looked at the bottom screen before, this may not have been a big surprise. But still, having to figure this out, and also do it, that can be a challenge, one which I appreciate. So after all of that, I have to give World 2 a rating of B. The theming is done here pretty well, with some nice concepts, and there's a neat difficulty shift. But it's not fully outstanding. So let's check out World 3, a world with the theme of beach. Once again, it's similar to how SMB3 did things. That game had the water world as a 3rd world, though I feel that beach is a bit more complete as a theme. There's reason to be above the water and below the water, it's not just a world themed around water. As you could have guessed, we're bound to see some underwater levels here. For example, 3-1. It's relatively basic, but it's a bit more engaging than the one in World 1. You have to deal with this giant horde of fish, who will chase you down relentlessly. On the flip side though, you can go down and unlock 3-A, a slightly more land-based water level. We get introduced to these skaters that drop bombs into the water below, disincentivizing swimming, which is a shame because there are collectibles down there, so you'll have to be careful. There's a mini mushroom here as well, which helps with getting the star coin, and lets you go into this pipe once the skater opens it up, into to a bonus room with not much to do in it. I get the idea, but it feels like there should have been more to that. No matter which way you went at first, you end up at 3-2, a sky mushroom level again. You'll face very little hardship in this stage until the halfway point, where these platforms appear that you have to be careful with since they're on a pulley system. Yeah, this is kinda nothing, I'll be honest. Like, there are these mushrooms that really want you to die, but as long as you stand still, they can't really hurt you. That being said, if you jump off of this one into the green pipe, you can access a secret exit, if you're cautious. These mushrooms, I swear to God, like, fuck's sake. The secret exit actually leads to 3-B, another fairly unique level because it's made up of pipes, high in the sky, with piranha plants all around. Now, it's easy and correct to point out that it doesn't really fit the beach theme. However, these sky-like stages sort of have become a default state for these worlds. They don't really fit in with the norm of each theme, but they still work on their own in a way. And I guess there's no way to prove that there aren't a huge collection of pipes high above the beach like this. Then we have 3-C, the return of that fucking fish that I hate. That being said, it's not that bad. He doesn't jump out of the water too much, and he's on the cycle, so you know how to avoid getting jumped. Just stay out of the water most of the time, or fight back. There's also a short section where Cheep Cheep will jump out of the water. Now those are the real bitch fish here. I don't like this mechanic. Not because it's bad, it's actually a pretty good challenge for the player. I'm just bad at the thing. Anyway, that was all optional stuff. It leads us straight to the castle, avoiding the tower. This one relies on climbable fences, which make their return from Super Mario World. You have to deal with Koopas climbing around them, ants, which pose little threat actually, and deciding which side to be on to avoid enemies. They're a neat little mechanic to mess around with, and I'm glad they returned. Bowser Jr. fight. That's literally all I wrote down to describe this one, by the way. It's just nothing. Like, there's water, but who cares? Next up, we have a water level with bloopers, which means it sucks. Yes, that's a bit harsh, but listen. I love Blooper as a character. I picked him like 60% of the time in Mario Party 8. He's a certified little guy. But in 2D games, fuck them. Genuinely one of the most frustrating enemies to deal with because they love to be above you and fly up spontaneously. Anyway, the level doesn't have much going on. It's a good thing I got annoyed about the bloopers because otherwise I'd have nothing to say. Now we move on to the game's first ghost house, a feature returning from Super Mario World. Now I'll be honest, I don't have a great opinion about ghost houses in this series. I'll get more into that later though. These levels will always have a secret exit to them, and usually that exit will be a bit cryptic. As for the levels themselves, also a bit cryptic. This one involves using these switches to activate stairs and make the exit doors appear. Basically you just have to hurry up, nothing too crazy, but they will get worse over time. The secret exit here is basically just do the level like usual, but explore a tiny bit more. Last up, World 3's castle, which uses spike pillars as its gimmick. Once again, back from Mario World, but we also have Womps. You know, from Mario 64. They're here for some reason. I'll be honest, I don't think they work well in 2D. It just feels off to see them here. But it's a level made out of level. I can't say more about it than that. The boss though, jump on his head 3 times. You know the deal. But it's a fish. You know, like from the water. Also, the shitty Cheep Cheep bitches are back. And that's annoying for me, certified not fan of those. The boss can be a little tricky, but nothing insane. Go to hell, you stupid fish. And now that World 3 is done with, I can honestly say, I think C tier is fitting. It's nothing too special despite some well done ideas, so I'm more than comfortable putting it alongside its long lost brother, World 1. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about either. Anyway, once you beat World 3, you get to move on to World 5. So let's move on to World 4. You know, the other one we've got. So this board has a forest theme. You know, a lot of trees, a deeper atmosphere, and this weird purple acid in the corner. I am mostly going to refer to the theme as jungle though, because although they call it a forest, it doesn't feel like a forest. You know, in the jungle you might find exotic and dangerous creatures, but in the forest you might see a wolf and your cousin's cabin. Anyway, in 4-1, the theme doesn't take too long to establish itself. We're met with scuttlebugs hanging from the ceiling and poisonous acid that will kill us on contact. See, this is what I mean, there's no wolves here. We also get to meet Dory in this level, who will help us across the acid sea. She's like a boat, but cooler, and from Mario 64. All in all, this is a pretty good way to introduce the theme to the player. Now let's undo that with 4-2, another sky-high mushroom level. I'm joking to an extent, but there's a pretty heavy contrast between this and the last stage. This one has purple mushrooms, which lean depending on which side you're standing on, which does give you a slight challenge. But once again, this level doesn't really stand out in the grand scheme of things. Following this is another auto-scrolling water level. Sounds bad, right? Well, no, because this one's actually kinda good. The star coin placements take advantage of the fact that your backtracking ability is limited, meaning you actually have to try a bit to get to them. The main gimmick here are the Mega Unagi, giant eels that will come in from the right side of the screen and plow through everything in their path, including you. There's a decent amount of stuff going on here, especially with these smaller Unagi that will lunge out at you if you get too close. I was a little surprised to find out that I enjoyed this stage, but to be fair, it's not as egregious as some of the other water levels we've seen. Next we have this world's tower, which has my favourite tower gimmick in the game. Rising lava. You just gotta keep climbing up and you'll be fine. It makes it harder to fully explore like you would in other towers though, so if you miss something, you may not be able to go back, and if you go too slow, you'll be in danger. It's a fun time, and we also get a slight return of the climbable fences from World 3's tower. Now when we get to the Bowser Jr. fight, things are different. He's wearing a mask now. When you try to get close to him, for instance when you're about to jump on him, he'll retreat into his shell, so you can't actually damage him. It took 3 worlds, but he finally learnt a new strategy. So we can't jump on him, but after a while, he'll throw a shell at us, and if we hit him with that shell, then we can jump on him. Like normal, 3 hits to take him down. But hey, this is a little bit different, so cool. I can't wait to see what other changes they make to this fight. 4-4 introduces us to Wigglers. If you haven't seen them before, they wiggle. Anyway, I've always liked these guys. They're docile until you jump on them, at which point they'll get pissed off and charge around. It's fun to have an enemy that you can't really kill through normal means. For instance, fire flowers won't affect them in the slightest. Now it's a very small thing, but I like how we're seeing slightly tougher enemies in this world. This is a world that's difficult to get to, so it makes sense for that to be rewarded with more difficult levels. But we can ignore 4-4 and head to 4-A instead, which focuses on swinging vines and these paddle things. They're mildly tedious, but they're a good test of how precise you can be with platforming, something which I'm good at times. It can be a simple level, but I feel like it does use those mechanics quite well. Now we move on to the Ghost House, which has 2 major features. 1, these platforms which will take you across walls to new sections of the level, and 2, balloon boos, which only ever appear here. Like, ever. They're memorable enemies to me purely because of the noise they make. Genuinely haunting stuff. If you look away from them, they'll follow you quickly, but when you look at them, they'll slowly grow to a max size. So there's a little bit of challenge there. There's also a secret exit which requires you to be mini, which I don't love. I like it better when a secret exit does not require you to have a power-up going into the level. 4-5 is an underground stage which I consider to be alright. You've got mushrooms and some fun uses for bob-ombs which are introduced here, but there's nothing else I can really say about it. 4-6 brings back Dory and gives her an entire stage. Once again, she's like a cool boat, and there are some mild challenges here to encounter during this journey. Lastly, there's the World 4 Castle. If it seems like I'm speeding through these last levels, it's just because they don't stand out to me as much as the first ones. The castle starts off with some swinging platforms, and then it goes and has some fun with thwomps, your superior rectangular rock climbing enemy. These are both fun enough mechanics. The platforms are hard to maneuver on, meaning you have to stop and start a lot, which is also true of the thwomps. And when you get to the end, you see a solitary oh shit. So yeah, so I guess this guy is corrupted or pissed off or something. But it's a neat fight, because you have to ground pound him 3 times to win. See, that's a little different to just jumping. Also, because of the size, you get these platforms to help you actually reach him, though they aren't strictly necessary. After this, you get to move on to World 5. And that also means it's time to create this world. And I've gotta give it credit. It stands out, uses a lot of fun mechanics, despite some levels not being super engaging. All in all, it's an A-tier world, the best one so far. Anyway, now let's have a look at World 5, the Snow World. Straight away, not a surprising theme to see in this game. Snowy and icy aesthetics are pretty common in both 2D and 3D platforms. Very quickly into 5-1, we can see some cool new mechanics that will only ever appear in this level. There's this enemy which will throw snowballs at you, which is similar to an enemy we'll see in an upcoming game, but this isn't the only time we see it in a snowy setting. Some trees will drop mounds of snow down when you get too close, which can trap you briefly, and also you can sink down into these big pools of snow. Immediately they're doing the snowy theming pretty well, bringing in these fitting new things for the players to deal with. When we go into 5-2, we get our first taste of ice. It's quite slippy and slidey, as you could probably guess. We'll be seeing this a fair bit throughout the series, so get used to it now. I genuinely like how it's a bit more difficult to control your movement on these ice platforms. You get a bit more difficulty out of what may normally be just simple platforming. This is heightened when you add in the spike top enemies, which will climb around the edges of whatever surface they're on. They can't be killed by fireballs, so you really just have to avoid them entirely, which is, of course, difficult with impeded movement ability. We can also head to 5-A, an interesting mix of the snowy theme and mushrooms. I'll be honest, I love these mushrooms. They alternate between being normal-sized and really small, so I have to be cautious about moving ahead. Obviously, it can be easier to jump onto a full-size platform, but you have to watch out, because it can very easily just shrink right before you land on it. Once again, there's a problem of being careful with movement. This is a theme for this world, and to an extent, I see areas in general, so I like how it keeps getting switched up. We reached the world's tower quite early, and it's a pretty confined one, with Mario being stuck on this rising platform, with spike balls continuously rolling in from the sides of the screen. It is kinda difficult if you aren't paying enough attention. There's a lot going on in a fairly small space, and this huge spike ball at the end is just a monster of a thing. The Bowser Jr. fight here is a little difficult because for the first time, they changed the actual platform you fight him on. That's right, there's ice. They also took out the shuttle thing from World 4. I guess we're not ready for that yet. I'm being a little sarcastic, but I can see why it was done. It's a weird enough fight with just the ice. If people are coming in from World 3, then they'd be learning about the shell version of the fight for the first time too. And that's a lot to throw in at once. 5-3 is made up of these icy slopes, with sort of a maze-like feel to it, and that's just because of the amount of different points where you can go very high up or very low down. It ends up being kind of memorable despite being short, just because it feels like a pretty grand level, due to the variety in how you can tackle it. Then there's the Ghost House, which introduces bruises. Ghost-like enemies that break through blocks in front of them. There's a puzzly element to them, because sometimes you may want to lead them certain ways to unlock less obvious areas. But they're mean. There's also a secret exit, and holy shit, this one is not difficult, but very easy to miss. There's a hidden block here, but you have to be small or crouching to hit it, which means if you're doing well with the game, you can have more trouble, which is kinda neat, I think. Then we have 5-B, which sort of feels like a flatter version of 5-3, made up of ice with a lot of slopes, and similar enemy layouts. That being said, with it being a much shorter stage, there's a lot of room for fun setups, and all 3 star coins here feel like nice little challenges along the main path as opposed to just being hidden. Then we got 5-C, which brings back the bruises but puts them underground. It's nice to immediately see these pretty unique enemies in a new setting where they're being utilised in a pretty different way. We then move on to 5-4, which introduces a new type of mushroom again, ones that will rise or fall when you stand on them. My favourite thing is the second star coin. You feel troll for a second, but then find out there's a way to get it, but you'll never get up to it that fast, right? Well, I fucking did it. I did the thing that I was meant to do, and it's a slight rush. But then we've got the castle, which I feel is the pinnacle of this whole watch how you move sort of thing we've seen in this world. The main mechanic here? Conveyor belts. Specifically ones with enemies along them. You have to be careful because you're constantly being moved around. Watch out for the enemies heading right for you. It makes sense to have these, because the world has sort of been training us for this type of thing the whole time. And I was genuinely surprised by how much synergy this world has in this sense. And especially in this castle too, because we get reintroduced to ice near the end, as well as these munching piranha plants that we have to avoid. Or kill, both work. This leads up to the boss, Petey Piranha. Oh, that's why there's a bunch of piranha plants. That was really weird. He's another 3-jump boss fight, but he flies around a bit. But what's that at the end? Another split path. Well, we know what to do here. Grab a mini mushroom, which is not guaranteed, also the sneak star coin, and beat the boss. I will also say, I don't mind the mini mushroom not being a guarantee here, because it's still available in the level itself. Using that mini mushroom will allow it to go to World 7 as opposed to World 6. But now, it's time to rank. Now I think this world has a lot of memorable levels and great design choices. Stuff that I've been praising this whole time. So I feel like I have to give it an S ranking. This world just stands out to me in some really strong ways. So now that that's done, let's move on to the 6th world, fittingly titled World 6. It has sort of a Rocky Mountain Canyon type thing. I know that sounds vague, and that's because it kind of is. The first level gives us a relatively alright idea of what to expect, with a myriad of bullet bills being launched at us. These cave sections will be limited in our movement, and a fair bit of variety in vertical movement that we see here. It's a nice level, though I find the cave tightrope concept a bit annoying. Feels like we're getting a decent idea of what we might see in this world. Mechanics that fit a Rocky Mountain geology and stuff. So, as you'd expect, 6-A is Wait, why are we in the desert? I guess I can sort of see the connection between Rocky Mountains and a harsh desert, but the topside being different feels a bit odd. They also have the brand new sand tornadoes and a lot of quicksand. It feels a little odd, but I guess there have been side levels that don't fit the main theme of oil before, so it's not completely out there. 6-2 will get us back on track though. Right? Beach. I'm not insane, right? There's, like, no actual connection. Like, sure, you can see the mountain spires in the background still, but why is this level here? Once again, it's an okay level that introduces the mechanic of the water level going up or down. It just feels a bit weird that we're getting new mechanics for past worlds. 6-Tower focuses on these spike pillars, and while we have seen them before, back in 3 Castle, those were vertical. These are horizontal. And no joke, that does make a pretty big difference. Instead of stopping in place, you're jumping and crouching to get through. Bowser Jr. is easy again, and oh cool, there's going to be a second tower in this world. So, 6-3 time. Why is it grassy? Why the fuck are we in the jungle? We are 4 levels into this world now, and so far only 1 has fit the world theme. There's a slight focus on pipes here, and a few new concepts introduced that we'll never see again, because we'll never see a jungle level again. 6-4 brings us fire bars, and we're back in the mountains again. Now with the fire bars, I will say, it is pretty interesting to see them out here. Before this game, they basically only showed up in castle-type levels, so it's a little fun to see them in the open air. That being said, this level kinda feels a lot like 6-1, just without the bullet bills. Like, the tightropes are back, and this level does the same amount of verticality stuff that that level did. We're not on a hot streak here. The second tower has a lot of conveyor belt platforming, and some spikes to keep you on your toes, but it doesn't really feel like there's a lot to it. But at the end, oh my god, we get to fight Shell Bowser again. This fight is actually pretty difficult when you don't have a fire flower like I did. The platform shifts, there's lava below it. It takes some effort to get through. Moving on to 6-5, and it's a water stage. I don't have much to say about this one. It introduces these cheeps that'll chase you down a bit, but I think I'd be less confused by this level being here if there were more mountain stages. Oh look, it's a mountain stage. Welcome to 6-6, and this one is a bit more unique than the other 2. We get to see chain jumps make an appearance, and the spring jump platforms bringing some quite fun verticality to the first area, as well as this pipe cannon section near the end that I feel like just kinda charming. We can also go to 6-B, and bro, okay, so the level isn't too crazy, but that's 5 off-theme levels in this world, and only 3 on-theme. I don't have evidence for what I'm about to say, so don't take it as fact. But these levels feel so out of place in this world that it feels like maybe they just had some extra levels from all the previous worlds that they couldn't really fit there, or maybe they deemed them a little too difficult for those early worlds, but they still wanted to keep them. It also feels like they didn't get enough good ideas for how to make this world stand out, so these extra levels just ended up getting placed here to fill in the space. That's my theory at least, because I don't feel like this world would have been like this if they were really trying to make this mountainous theme work. Anyway, let's move on to the castle now. One that has a lot of slidey blocks, used more as platforms than hindrances this time. It's another quick castle level, but at the end, we get one of the harder bosses in the game, Monty Tank. It's not too hard to avoid getting hit when you're on the ground, but when you actually want to attack him, it's easy to make some sort of mistake or jump at the wrong time. I enjoyed this fight now, but I definitely didn't enjoy it when I was a kid. After that, we can go to World 8. But not before we go to World 7, but especially not before we end up ranking this world. Now I have been harsh on this world, so I don't think it's going to be a huge surprise that I feel it deserves a D tier ranking. You know, going into it, I didn't know exactly what to expect from this world theme, and now that we're finished with it, I'm still not. So after that fender bender of a world, let's go on to World 7. Full disclosure, I love sky themes in video games. I love the Skyland in Super Mario Bros. 3, the Cloudflower was a ton of fun in Galaxy 2, so if at any point it feels like I'm biased towards this world, it's because I'm biased towards this world. The first level is pretty simple. Up high, in the clouds, maneuvering around on these moving platforms. It's a basic level, but it's nice enough. The aesthetics are cool, and this bitch of a fire snake poses a good enough challenge. Next up we have the Ghost House, which is sort of like a labyrinth. These 5 doors all lead to different rooms, and you have to try and find the way out, which will take a fair bit of exploring. We'll see more levels like this in the future, but I will say that, outside of another pretty main part to the secret exit, this level isn't bad, just cryptic, like all the other ghost houses. Now, 7-2 has a pretty fun mechanic. Technically two. Firstly, there's this platform that will rise up constantly, with you able to shift it left or right depending on where you stand. It's sort of like that one platform from Hazy Maze Cave, but in 2D. Another cool thing is that the level wraps around. So if you go off the left side of the screen, you'll come back on the right side of the screen. I wish this was done more often, because this is one of only 2 levels in the entire new franchise to actually use this mechanic. It was done a couple of times back in Super Mario Bros. 3. I loved it there, and I love it here. Speaking of mechanics that I love, 7-3, a level that takes place entirely on a giant wiggler. It's somewhat of an auto-scroller. The wiggle is very long though, so you can hang back for quite a while if you need. There's not a huge rush to get to the end. This level is something that we don't see anything too much like again. A level with a fairly different style of play because of a fully unique mechanic. There are other levels which have some other auto-scroller-ish mechanics, but none that really stand out like this one. It's memorable because of how unique it is. And it's probably the level I remember the most going back into these games. Next up, the tower, which doesn't really introduce anything new. It's primarily just the shifting blocks and spikes again, like in World 6, but a little more difficult. We fight Shell Bowser Jr. again in a fight that isn't that bad actually. Like even without the fireballs, it wouldn't be too hectic. 7-4 is a primarily vertical level, focusing on using the spring jump platform to their fullest potential. Lots of bouncy mushrooms, small puzzles involving gliding around, and this cool section where you need to unblock the path of a vine to get to a cool bonus area. 7-5 is the first time we see a grassy aesthetic since the first world. It's off theme, yeah, but this is rare in this world, so I'm not going to complain about it this time. And also, we get to see a ton of bullet bills and bombs again. It's another nice level. But now I'm going to go into why this section rules. That next level we're unlocking now is 7-6, and completing it leads back to 7-4. So what's the scoop? Why are we trapped in the loop, and how do we escape it? Well, it's so fucking cool, my god. All 3 of these levels have secret exits. And to get to the castle, you just need to get one of them. This is similar to the Forest of Illusion in Super Mario World, but done a little bit better I feel, because there are exclusively ways out of this loop, as opposed to that world where there are only 2 ways out and you were getting confused along the way to that. And what's even better about this in my opinion, is that the secret exit in 7-4 is the most difficult one to get, requiring you to be mini from the get-go. And I'm not going to complain about that, because you are rewarded by getting to go directly to the castle. High difficulty, high reward. 7-5 requires some messiness with a Mega Mushroom, or the slightly more intended challenge of blowing up these blocks with a bomb. It's very much on the main path, so you'll probably notice the way out without realizing. Clearing that will send you to 7-A and then the castle. Medium difficulty, medium reward. 7-6, which I haven't talked about yet, is a mushrooming level, with a ton of Koopas. It's a tricky one, but getting through it, well, like I said, loop. The secret exit here is not that hidden. In fact, you'll probably encounter the vine that leads straight up on the first run-through, then you may not actually be able to climb it. Going this way sends you to 7-7 and then the castle. Low difficulty, low reward. It's such a cool way of having this world go. 7-A is a pipe-themed level, the only one of its kind, and a cool throwback to SMB3's Pipeland. Really cool stage, especially for a lover of Pipeland like me. Now 7-7 is an auto-scroller using donut blocks a lot to make things tricky, as well as these wooden platforms. It's giving Super Mario Bros. 3. Never let me say it's giving again, Christ. I don't mind this stage, but it's nothing too special. Finally, we have the castle, which reintroduces the snake blocks to the franchise. It's another one of the many different ways that the game forces a level to take longer, but I find them to be quite fun, because they mess with you, turning back and forth, you never know exactly where they're going to go and where you have to jump, keeps you on your toes. And the boss, after a short climb up, is Lucky Thunder. You beat him in the usual way, but I find it to have a cool design and kind of fun attack patterns. So there you have it, that's World 7 done, and now it's time to rank it. I don't think this will be a huge surprise, but I have to give it an S rank. I have praised so many parts of this world, it is so good. It's not perfect though, it's just really, really good in my opinion. Finally, we have the last world on the game, World 8. From the world map, we can see that it has a fairly deep and creepy atmosphere. Nowadays, that might feel a little bit odd for the last world in a Mario game. We've gotten very used to lava and fire being synonymous with the final stages of the game. But honestly, for the time this came out, this was basically what you would expect. SMB3 ended on Darkland, which had minimal lava, and Mario World was in the Valley of Bowser, which was basically a cave. So this was more or less par for the course at the time. The world starts in a level that feels more spooky than anything, being seeming sort of like an outdoor ghost house, a pink one for that matter. It's nothing too special, though I remember having a ton of trouble with it as a young kid. But all in all, it set the theme for the world pretty well. Okay, let's move on to 8-2. What? So 8-2 is essentially a gimmick level. Remember the water switches in the sewer level from almost an hour ago? This is a level basically made up entirely of that. It feels out of place. Not because of the theming necessarily, mostly just the difficulty. It's kind of easy, and I would expect a gimmick level to be off the main path, not on it. Luckily that weirdness is interrupted by the tower. Remember the sliding blocks? Yes, you do. They've been in like half the towers. I feel like they could have had a new mechanic here. I don't know what it would be, but I feel like there has to be better options for the final tower of the game. The Bowser Jr. fight here is standard, but it has fire, so don't hit the fire. Once again, the difficulty here isn't really apparent, and the platform wasn't much bigger than this in the previous fights anyway. 8-3 is... Okay, think we're creepy for a second, and now we're underwater. I guess they had a pretty tough water level lined up for us. Newsflash, they don't. After a quick swim up, you're met with a Mega Unagi, one who will break free and start to chase you down. But it's about the same speed as you, so it's essentially a level of just keep swimming. There isn't much of a danger here as long as you are still swimming, and unless you fuck up, you probably won't see the giant bitch much in this stage. There's no real pressure here, which is weird, because I felt a lot of pressure in that World 4 water level with the oncoming Unagi. 8-4 brings us scuttlebugs, which drop from the sky. Why? They feel like an odd inclusion here. It's kind of a nothing burger of a level, to be honest. Lastly, the castle. There's a neat gimmick here with these switches that affect the placement of these moving platforms, and some more rotating platforms. But it's short. Once we get to the end though, we meet the boss, Bowser's skeleton. It's the same fight as usual with Bowser, but he throws bones. Evidently that's kinda neat, but nothing too special. Once we win... Wait, why are you running? So here's the scoop. This world has a second half. And the second half is so much better. For one, it leans heavily into this lava volcano type feel, a theme that is a lot stronger than the unsettling vibe we had before. Much more climactic and fairly Bowsery. Also, the mechanics here are good mechanics. 8-5 brings us these tilting rocks suspended just over lava. 8-6 is a great level. It's the second and final wraparound stage in the entire series. Lava is rising up from below and you need to escape. And honestly, it's not easy to do that. There are quite a few obstacles in your path, and the start points will test you here. But the best part here is the ending, when you blast up into the sky, and it's basically implied that you were escaping from an erupting volcano. Excellent theming though. 8-7 is a more mountainous level, and it's sort of the type of level I expected to see more of in World 6. It's got some weird platforming, but good weird. And finally, there's probably the best level in this set. 8-8. A volcano in the background is spewing out molten rocks which fall from the sky, destroying the blocks in their path. There are also these one-time enemies called K-bombs, which can be ignited by the rocks. Genuinely, this can be a really tough stage, but a great one to have before our last hurrah. The second tower of the world features snake blocks again, and it's a bit meaner than the ones we saw last time. That being said, it's not that unique of a level for me to have any biting commentary about it, other than, look at this shit, my dude, Bowser Jr. Then comes the final castle. It belongs to Bowser, and it really does look climactic. The main gimmick here is brand new. These switches will rotate the stage. That's cool as shit. There's this fire room, which is tough, but a good challenge, and then there's the swamp, which doesn't actually rotate with the stage, so you have to keep dealing with it after you've hit the switch. Near the end we get a puzzle, sort of. We have to pick the correct path out of these three options. And I think there was something like this in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, but my memory of that game is minute. Anyway, let's get to the big boss battle. It's an upgrade, I'll say that. We have to fight Bowser, who's been enhanced a little bit, and Bowser Jr. at the same time. Once again, Bowser Jr. easy, but it's the shell version, and Bowser is a genuine obstacle here, so watch out, non-fire flower havers. Bowser spits out a lot more fire than before, but once again, we hit the switch. I mean, for the time, it's definitely impactful, different enough to what we knew at the time. So yeah, that's the end of New Super Mario Bros. And as the credits roll, you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? I mean, what is the ranking for World 8? I have to hand it to this world. The difficulty was certainly increased, mostly, and there were some great concepts at play during the second half. Nevertheless, I am impressed. That's a solid A tier ranking for this world. It should feel proud, if it had the ability to, I guess. Well, that's it for New Super Mario Bros. A game. Considering it was the first 2D platformer in the Mario franchise after a decade of nothing, this was pretty good. They introduced a lot of really cool concepts and brought back a bunch of cool things from the previous games. That being said, quite a few levels felt bland or misplaced, and the boss fights were pretty similar. I wonder if that will change in future installments. Hint. No. Anyway, riding the high from this game being a success, and with the knowledge that people did want to play more 2D Mario, they got to work on making the next 2D Mario game for the only other Nintendo console active at the time, the Nintendo Wii. If they stayed as creative as they did with this first entry, they were sure to have a hit on their hands. And well, in 2009, what was released certainly was that, a hit.
Alright. I was just gonna do the new Super Mario Bros. Series, the first game, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna watch this whole 3-hour video, but honestly, it's a pretty good one. But highlights of this video, highlights. So I'm not gonna talk about the other entries in the series because you already know my opinion on those, and I could make a whole other video about it, but I'm not going to. But I'm gonna point out the first game in particular, that yes, in some points it kind of did get a little bit wacky with the theming in World 6, and of course there's some worlds that get really good theming, and there's some levels that were pretty clever and unique for the time of the game coming out, which was back in 2006. And I feel as though, looking back at this particular game, I think if, I believe that if Nintendo were to continue in that direction, I would say that the series would have not taken a nosedive like people, like most people online, and mainly myself, wouldn't have such a negative outlook on the series, which I think it started with this game. Even though it kind of just, it was something that it was really unique at the time, but after that it just felt kind of stale, if I'm gonna just see that out of the way. But notably so, I think some of the big things that really stood out is just how unique Nintendo was during that time, with the theming and just how the game was already in general, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna just say here. And I'm not gonna watch this whole video because I'm not gonna take 3 hours to watch this. So that's just that. So that's my 2 cents. Okay. So let's just go and view another video, which is getting chewed up by the captains. I played this game quite a lot, so this is not a big of a surprise. Alright.
You disappoint me, cold folks. Get back in there and raise some lumps, boy! I need a confession!
Better call the coroner, Phelps, and the captain. We're gonna be in the doghouse for smoking this punk.
Let me get this straight. In all the time you spent in the Army, in basic training, in officer school, at the police academy, at no point during that time did anyone teach you how to control a fucking automobile? You destroyed God knows how many vehicles, you terrorized citizens throughout East Downtown, and we haven't got a goddamn thing to show for it. You were on street duties until such time as I see fit to assign you another case. Now get the hell out of my sight. Now where shall I start? With the 2 GTA suspects we had to let walk free? Or with the female suspect, who I am reliably told slipped the leash with embarrassing ease? You just lost the chance to crack one of the biggest criminal operations in this city. How do you think that makes me look? The chief has my balls in a frying pan! Now get out there and fill some charge sheets. Misdemeanors if you have to. Get me something before I even think about giving you another case.
I have to say I'm disappointed. I stood in front of a troop of reporters and made promises. Promises of swift and fearful retribution, and you bring me an armful of vagary and happenstance. You made the department look bad, lad. Do it again and your career as a policeman will come to an abrupt and ignominious end. You two are back on the streets. Find street criminals, roust them, beat them, and restore some fervour to your police work. Your next case will come when you've revived my faith in your abilities. Now get out of here!
You actually see the ads disappear as they're blocked in real time.
Okay.
Now, lads, what am I to do with you? I give you a perfectly good murder. A case any homicide man would be happy with. An affront to our way of life and our Californian dream, and the chance to deliver some retribution. Are you not believers, lads? Homicide men are the right hand of God. You need to back out of here slowly and take a long, hard look at yourselves and your methods. Ask yourself what you are prepared to do to put these creatures behind bars. It's the streets for the two of you until I can find some forgiveness for the foppish behavior you've been exhibiting. Just for once, I would like to be able to send my girls to school of a morning and not have to worry about what might befall them on the streets of this fair city. You two are doing nothing to allay a father's fears. Unsolved homicides weigh heavily on this department, young Phelps. Your latest case is an embarrassment to me and your colleagues. A stint in blues rounding up pond life should renew your vigor. Apprehend anyone and everyone you find flouting the law. At the double now!
Oh God. It kind of gets kind of scary when Donnelly's kind of just doing that to you. But anyway, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, take a quick bathroom break, and I'll be back.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Sí. Está bien, ma.
Ok, mi amor.
Alright.
¿Qué anda haciendo mi reycito lindo?
En vivo.
Papá, espérame un rato, pues.
Voy a poner el antigrasa porque está frío.
Teníamos una colchita verde que casi ya no la ocupábamos.
Para.
Estos quieren una. Y yo me acuerdo.
Colchita verde, la de Rey, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero.
Uy, ya no me acuerdo.
Pero es que ahí está la café y esa no.
No me acuerdo, güey. No me quedó. Creo que al final la tiró, ¿no? Porque estaba bien chiquitita. Oh, es esa. Pensé que era. ¿Te cierro, hijo?
Sí. Alright, we're back. We're back. So, okay, after I gotten quite a bit of a bathroom break, we're gonna just go ahead and do this. So, alright, we're gonna still watch this.
I'm going to assume that you both have very good excuses for what happened in my station today. You had a perfectly good candidate for a capital case, and somehow managed to choose a weak-willed sub-sister, while the murderous Red walks scot-free. I'm having doubts about what you're prepared to do to make a case, Phelps. If ever there was a time for manufacturing evidence, or extracting a confession, this was it! Now get out of my sight! Run down pickpockets and fruit flies, and leave the real work for men of substance.
The reefer soup fiasco! That's what they're calling this foobar case that you brought me. All the beaters are gonna skate. Reefer-crazed Mexicans carrying enough ordnance to outfit an airborne company in my goddamn jurisdiction, and they all walk.
What about Sanders?
Victor Sanders? Are you kidding? If Sanders started naming names, the dailies would have to run special editions for a week. Put a stack of convictions on my desk by 9 a.m. Monday morning, or you can start clearing out your desk. Dismissed! I'm hearing rumors of a fight that was fixed, of gangsters looking to get square, that LAPD cops might be involved. Either of you two sons of bitches know anything about that?
No, sir.
So, the dead wop who turned up in this theater, who used to be a boxing manager, who murdered Candy Edwards, has nothing to do with the fix?
Absolutely not.
Earl, you're doing venereal disease citations until you can learn to stop lying to me. Phelps, got anything to add?
No, sir.
Get your uniform from your locker. You're back on the street.
Working with Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant, I'm creating a business of acting manual to help others. A manual of this size would take me maybe a year. With AI Assistant, I can finish it in 4 to 6 weeks.
Doctor, good to see you.
I'm conducting an investigation.
Upstairs in my office now.
This man is about to confess.
As of now, you're suspended from duty, pending a fitness review.
What are you talking about?
You heard the man, Phelps. Upstairs and face the music like the hero you were. You certainly had us fooled, Detective. Phelps, you're one of my favorite sons. You've broken this old man's heart.
Sir, what is going on?
You're suspended, Phelps. Hand over your badge and gun.
Don't keep him waiting. What is going on here?
Your wife's attorney has pictures of you and the German. compromising pictures, lad.
She's pressing charges. You'll be formally charged with adultery.
You made a mistake,
Not serve as an
Cole.
LAPD officer, as I'm sure you're aware.
I don't understand. How could you do it, lad? Your wife, your children, consorting with the enemy and a dope fiend at that. You're lucky the war is over. You'd be taken out and shot.
The department doesn't need this kind of publicity, Phelps. Hand over the gun, keep your head down until you're bored here. I forbid you to make any comments to the press. What the hell were you thinking? How is it? No, just keep your mouth shut and listen to me for a second. How is it you can bring no less than 3 suspects into my station, conduct extensive interviews, sift through mountains of evidence with Lynch and Pinker, and still manage to charge the wrong fucking guy? I took a chance on you, Phelps. People said I was crazy, and you made me look like a jerk. You may not be much of an arson investigator, but I hear you're merciless on the beat. Get going. What the hell kind of desk do you think I'm running here, Phelps? You think you can waltz around this city starting riots, harassing pillars of the community, and wantonly destroying the property of the LA Transit Authority? I don't care if you're not happy slumming it in this squad. You either get yourself squared away or hand in your goddamn badge. You're on street duty until further notice. Get out of my sight!
We have a firm lead, Captain.
Are you questioning my judgment, Cole Phelps?
No, sir.
Good. I thought not. Jacob Henry is a sub-sister pushed around by his wife. I think with the right kind of persuasion, he might be prepared to seek absolution. Are you prepared to show him the error of his ways, young Phelps?
I don't think he's our man. Galloway agrees with me.
Don't drag me into this.
Rusty is a practical policeman. A bird in hand is always worth 2 in the bush. Let's liberate a confession from poor Jacob, and the public will sleep easier tonight. Run along now, Phelps. I've warmed them up nicely for you. Phelps, you failed me, son.
We have another lead, Captain. This guy Mendez could be our man.
I hope so, Phelps. I really hope so. I'm deeply disturbed by your style of police work.
At Kohl's Ultimate Clearance Event, experience the thrill of the hunt. Save up to 70% on hidden gems.
Honestly, it was just that. Ooh, okay. So, honestly, the particular, like, so, my take on the captain. So, traffic captain is nice to you. It looks like you want to go out for a drink with him, you know? Just something like that, right? You know, just get to hang out with him. And, you know, when he's mad, he doesn't really do that much. Donnelly is just someone that really sounds like an angry, disappointed parent that confides in you, but then you probably just made a mistake when it comes to his advice or whatever, you know, and make him very disappointed and angry. And that's what I think of Captain Donnelly. James Donnelly, by the way. The vice captain sounds like an angry bully, to be honest with you. It sounds like an enraged bully. And with all his insults, it kind of does make sense. The arson captain. The arson captain. I forgot his name, but the arson captain. Jesus, he sounds like a depressed whatever. Like he's been on the job for like years, but like he's tired of it and doesn't know when to quit. That's the thing, you know. That's what I feel like. That's what I think of of the captain in the arson cases. Like seriously, that's what he sounds like. To be honest, I think that's what it mostly sounds like. So, you know. All right. So here we go. We'll go to another video here.
Listen, you'll need some fairly standard gear. Listen, you'll need some fairly standard gear. Boat, tandem rotor heavy lift helicopter, truck, weapons. You'll have to source all of that. Chopper alone will set you back a couple of mil.
Oh, no worries there. Trevor here, he just came into a lot of money.
Is that sarcasm?
Oh, you're fucking ain't right, it's sarcasm.
It'll be...
You didn't have to do that!
Let's get going! There'll be time for grieving later!
Yeah, you got that right. Did you see that? Yeah, you're a real stout.
Come on! Ditch the car, alright? We can go this way to the chopper.
No! Hey! Stick to the plan!
What?
Stick to the fucking plan! Come on! He's a good kid? A good kid. Why? Does he help the fucking poor? No. He sits on his ass all day, smoking dope and jerking off while he plays that fucking game.
Damn,
If that's our standard for goodness, no wonder this country's screwed.
And you consider them achievements?
These were the opportunities I had. At least I took them.
And where did these opportunities get you, Michael?
They got me right fucking here. The end of the road. With a big house and a useless kid, and I'm stuck talking to you because no one else gives a shit. Oh, I'm living a dream, baby. And that dream is fucked. It is fucking fucked.
Let it all out.
You recognize this car? Huh? Does it look like it's worth $5 grand a month to you?
You fucking racist!
I'm telling you something. This thing's gonna need some serious body work for it. It's worth $5 grand a month.
He agreed to financing. I have his signature.
Yeah? They agreed to have some punk break into my fucking house?
I don't know.
That kid might be a fucking idiot, but you are a fraudulent scumbag piece of shit. Ugh. Don't make me have to come back here. Amanda! Amanda! You better not be! Not in my house!
I'm not doing this. There you go.
There's a winch in the back of the truck. Tied a cable to one of those supports up there.
You finna pull his deck down?
Hey, that prick pulled my marriage down.
Man, you really gonna be this fucking dramatic?
Yeah, whatever.
I told you I comped the session, bud!
But there were a lot of freaking sessions, bud! I'm thinking you were working on more than just her backhand!
Mandy's backhand has come a long way, bro! But sometimes it's gotta get worse to get better.
Yeah, well, maybe I should come up there and practice my backhand on your face.
Bud, your negative energy is seriously bringing me down.
Oh, I hope it is, Bud. We hooked up, man. You come into my house, take my money, and nail my wife? Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm gonna stick up my hand and say that was uncool, bud. My bad. Seriously.
How fucking magnanimous! May I please offer you my applause? You fucking motherfucker!
Dude!
And we'll see how you like when someone fucks with your shit!
Well, hey,
Wait! You got the wrong idea, pal! Whoa! Fuck!
Oh no. Whoa.
Here we go! Let's see what happens! Ooh, you are probably crazy! Oh, shit! Sorry, damn, we went already! Can't hold me in the rubbing outside tonight, dog! Boom, give me some! Are you fucking serious, nigga?
Sorry if you had to hear that.
Ah! Fucking A! Let's see how he liked that! Whoa, man! Fuck him! And fuck is that?
Hey, homie, I think you put a little more than a deck down.
That's a foolish man who builds his house on sand, baby.
I used to love you, Tony. How dare you point that thing at me? Stop with the emotions. You don't love me. You love what I represent. You love being the... Did you even have it?
In our house. Tracy doesn't get kidnapped or destroy my yacht. Destroy my yacht.
Well, that's just because she's too busy getting fucked by dudes to get on TV.
You don't talk about your sister that way.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's true. I mean...
No. And we better go about saving it together, because you and I both know we can't let it go to shit now.
But you made a mistake.
Did I, Cupcake?
Why don't you keep your fucking voice down before I close your fucking windpipe? The joke's stop now, pal. You will show me and my team some respect.
Maybe you could define team for me. Is that just the three of you? Or the greater FIB? Or the entire government? Because I'm tempted to argue that thus far, we haven't shown a lot of your colleagues a whole lot of respect.
And why didn't you start with me, genius?
You got it, pal.
Not you!
Hey, T, enough with the faux political bullshit. You fuck around while I'm out there. I'll climb back up this rope and strangle you with it. Yeah.
What is wrong with you smoking in my house? You know, ever since that psychotic pal of yours turned into an even bigger asshole.
Thank you. Your support in my difficult times means the world to me.
I've supported you. I left everything to come here with you, and still that crazy bastard turns up.
I'll handle it.
How?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? Just keep him away from me and the children, you low-life, whoremongering asswipe.
Did someone say yoga?
No, I think she said whoremongering asswipe.
Hello, Fabian, darling.
Namaste, Ananda. Are we ready to practice?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she's very centered. A regular oasis of peace and tranquility, this one.
Anger issues and worse friends.
Oh, well. Anyway, I'm not gonna watch this whole entire thing, but yeah, you get the point. Jesus, it's more of just arguing, man. Anyway, I think that's done and over with. We're gonna do like tireless, see what we get here. Actually, you know what? Let's do a quiz. And I'm gonna put some music on because why not? Alright, let's do this one. And I'm gonna put some music here because why not? So we're gonna do... What's a good song to do this for? We'll do Super Mario Galaxy. Let's see. Super Mario Galaxy 2, I would say. Let's do 2. Okay, 2 Otis. Okay. Flashback to the big hair and big consoles. In which year did the Sega Genesis hit U.S. living rooms? 1990, 1776, 1989, or 1992? Now, the 1700s, that's like years from now. That games didn't even exist back then. Though those, like the video games didn't exist back then. 89 was when the Game Boy came out, so probably not too long ago. 90, not that long ago, so I think that may be likely 92. That's when Sonic came out. I'm gonna just say 90. Yep. The Sega Genesis is a 16-bit home console, video game console developed by Sega. It was released in the US in 1989. It became one of the most popular gaming systems of its time, known for an extensive library and fierce competition with the Super Nintendo. Then why is 1990 a right answer though, since it says 1989. So 1989, the green should be the right answer. This just, I guess it was close, so I might be wrong. Which classic arcade game has you helping frogs dodge trap like it's Rush Hour? Honestly, I don't know. So we got Frogger, Chess, Leapfrog, or Hopper. Frogger, I seriously don't know much about that game. Chess is really unlikely since it's freaking chess. Leapfrog is an educational video game for kids, so that's not even a right answer. Probably Hopper. I'm probably gonna say it's Hopper. Damn it, no, it's not. It's not Hopper, it's Frogger. Frogger is a classic arcade game first released in 1981 by Konami. In the game, players guide frogs through traffic and cross the river to reach their homes, making it one of the most iconic and enduring titles in video game history. Dodging cars and hopping logs, guiding amphibians to safety was the goal in which game. Frogger. In its original form, what colors are palette chomping hero Pac-Man? Orange, red, purple, or yellow? Pac-Man, created by Namco and released in 1980, is a classic arcade game featuring a character designed to resemble a pizza with a missing slice. The character was made yellow to be visually appealing and to stand out against the dark background of the game maze. Nice. It's pretty cool. The Popeye arcade game was published by what company in 1982? McDonald's, Sega, Atari, or Nintendo? McDonald's, that's a food company. McDonald's, that's a food company. Sega, probably not too likely. Atari, maybe? Nintendo, not really. Atari, I would say. Okay. So, that was Nintendo. Damn it. In what year did memorize gamers its mind-bending puzzles and surreal landscapes? 1800, cross that answer out. 95, 92, or 93? We didn't really see like really groundbreaking graphics until like 93 or 95. I'm thinking it's like 93, I would say. The first Myst game developed by Xeon was released in 93 and became a groundbreaking title in the adventure game genre known for its immersive graphics, a complex puzzles, Myst sets new standards for interactive storytelling, and became one of the best-selling PC titles of its time. What does Pac-Man need to clear the maze and keep those ghosts away? Pellets. Or is it cherries? I'm not too sure. Thinking that's Minesweeper, yeah. Minesweeper is a classic puzzle video game that has been introduced with various versions of the Windows operating system since the 1990s. The objective of the game is to clear a rectangular board containing hidden mines without detonating any of them, using numerical clues to deduct the locations of the mines. Okay. Never heard of the game. The original Call of Duty game drops players into the battles of which war? The Vietnam War, the War of 1812, World War I, or World War II? I'm thinking World War I. The first Call of Duty game released in 2003 is set during World War II, focusing on the European theater of the conflict. The game immerses players in various historical battles and missions, reflecting the intense and diverse complex scenarios of the era. Not bad. In the early days, World of Warcraft what was the max level? 1,000, 55, 50, or 60? I seriously don't know. Maybe it's 60? Yeah. The original level cap in World of War, released in 2004, was set at level 60. This limit remained until the first expansion, The Burning Crusade, was introduced in 2007, which raised the cap to level 70. What built-in Windows game turned us into all amateur bomb disposal experts during work hours? Free Cell, Solitaire Minesweeper, Candy Crush Minesweeper. In which game did Luigi first step out of his brother's shadow as a main playable character? In Super Mario Bros. 2, released in 1988 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Luigi was first available as a primary character. Unlike the original Super Mario Bros., this sequel allowed players to choose between Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, each with unique abilities. Seriously, that went back into it in 3D World, which is still an iffy game, by the way. The World Cyber Games, often called the Olympics of Esports, was organized by which country? South Korea, Japan, Brazil, or China? I'm thinking it's probably Japan, because Brazil probably, I don't know. I haven't gotten too much knowledge of the other countries to kind of see what esports events they host. I'm gonna probably say it's Japan. The World Cyber Games is an international esports tournament funded by the South Korean company International Cyber Marketing. Established in 2000, World Cyber Games is often referred to the Olympics as the Olympics of esports and played a significant role in the global development and popularization of competitive gaming. Which arcade classic was the first to officially name our favorite plumber Mario? In the creepy piano puzzle of Silent Hill on PS1, how many keys do you need to press to solve? 70s, 80s, 90s, 1920s. Then what is this question anyway? I don't understand that. That was expensive at the time. Okay. Alright, guys. for those that came to the stream today, I want to thank you all for coming in and doing your thing. And I know this is relatively long, but yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day today, and I'm gonna do some podcast episode, some things for the second channel and stuff like that. Just something to get content out to you all. There's shorts that are posted right now. I'm gonna actually show you what the posts are in particular now. So if you go down to the short section, so you'll see that I got three particular shorts in particular, and these are posted on TikTok as well. If you haven't checked out my TikTok yet, it's at the gaming guy 1465. I know, creative name, and that's gonna be banned soon. I think because I'm not gonna get too much into it, but they're saying like it's going through legislation and just all this other type of crap. So, but if TikTok does get banned, I'm gonna switch over to here and even Instagram Reels, because I really just want you guys to go ahead and support the shorts as much as you can. The TikToks you can support until the time that it's gone, because it's not gonna be out there anymore to view and such. So if you're gonna check out one of those two platforms, check out this particular channel for shorts coming out soon. But I posted 3 shorts this week, so I'm not gonna post any more. These should hold until I get into new content on the second channel, and then post some shorts on the second channel as well. But that's what I'm gonna do. And of course there's gonna be a new podcast episode for the time being. And I'm glad to say, you guys, that we reached 160 subscribers. I hope you guys keep supporting the content, and just keep on going, man, because honestly there's nothing to lose here. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate the support. So thank you very much, and have a really great day.